Yeah, good morning, everybody. You're welcome to Daily Digest with Jimi Disu, brought to you by MTN. And this is Nigeria Info 99.3. I hope you all enjoyed yourself yesterday. My two guests, Mr. and Mrs. Umbatogo. I almost didn't want to let go of them after the program, and we were chatting till late in the night on WhatsApp. Okay, let me take a short commercial break, and then I'll be right back. What we're going to be looking at now and sometime in the future is this judgment of the Supreme Court that concerns female inheritance. And I'm taking my lead from a story that came out in the papers today. In the Vanguard, says the Woman's Own section, edited by Morenike Tairi. And it says, female inheritance, why some Igbo women stood by their culture. Culture says they can't inherit. Supreme Court says they can't. I'll be talking to a lawyer, GT Ogunye, and talking to some prominent Igbo people to have their own views, to hear their own views. So don't go away, we'll be right back.
Don't touch that dial. Daily Digest returns in a moment. Welcome back.
Welcome back.
This is Daily Digest with Jimi Disu.
Yeah, welcome back to Daily Digest with Jimi Disu. Let's go straight into business. It says here that by the decision of the Supreme Court in a landmark decision to uphold the right of a female child to inherit the properties of her father, the Apex Court has voided the Igbo age-long law and custom which forbids a female child from inheriting her late father's estate. Forbids. That word is key. Forbids means if any child wants to do that, it probably is a taboo. So we now need to balance tradition with legislation and with the law. GT Ogunye is on the line.
Good morning.
Morning. Good morning, GT. How are you?
I'm fine.
Well, to our listeners, all of you know GT Ogunye is a first-class lawyer, a son in the making, I hope. GT, do you hope to become a son or you want to go to the bench?
No, I don't want to go to the bench. I ruled that out.
So, son, that will buy and that's how we look. Okay, GT, let's get straight to business. Now, I'm sure you're aware of this. You're aware of this new Supreme Court judgment.
Yes.
Yes. Now, how do we balance this against tradition? Which takes precedence over the other?
Let me say generally that tradition evolves, culture evolves, custom even evolves. So none of this is static. In the past, in the pre-colonial era, there are a lot of things that were permissible
Yes.
or allowed in Nigeria, but which are no longer permissible. One of which, for example, is the killing of twins.
Twins. Yes.
Ones were born, the Mary Slessor and all that. But it was not only in the corner of Calabar, present Cross River State, that we had that practice. It was also prevalent in some parts of Yoruba land and elsewhere. So, but now that would be infanticide. There's a legislation against that. It's a crime. It's murder. So nobody dares that. And now, so culture, custom, and tradition evolves. And the test is not only the constitutional stricture, but it's also the stricture that if any custom or law, and this is embedded in received laws,
okay.
If any custom or culture, tradition is contrary to equity, good conscience, and natural justice, that custom will be invalidated on the basis that it's contrary to natural justice, equity, and good conscience.
Mm-hmm.
And so, my take is that this latest decision of the Supreme Court is solid and should be celebrated. As a matter of fact, before this decision, the Supreme Court in previous decisions has been nibbling at that age-long custom.
Okay.
And now they've just crowned it, and I feel that it should be celebrated. Moving forward, because old habits, they say, die hard, it may be necessary to now have a statutory intervention to specifically criminalize that practice and prohibit it.
Oh, I see.
This is a civil law decision. So the practice therefore can survive outside that particular case. A case may be a good decision for all, but it only determines the rights of the parties to that case.
So it doesn't make it the law.
It doesn't make it.
I see.
It's the law, but it doesn't say that when another person wants to then do it, a person who is affected, a female child, a daughter who is affected, can then tap into that decision and then challenge it. But if he's at the receiving end, he will still again have to go to court.
Exactly.
To invoke that decision to then benefit under that decision. So I am now saying that moving forward, it may be necessary for the legislatures in these states, southeastern states, to have a legislation to amend their criminal law to include that provision. Although that is not free of controversy, in Kaduna State, the Kaduna State government has just amended their penal code to allow, that rapists of children, pedophiles,
should be mutilated, should be castrated
chemically and all that. So I am saying that this can now be done to specifically prohibit it and then prescribe penalties for the offense of actively discriminating against children when it comes to the issue of inheritance.
Okay.
If that is done, that will help a great deal.
Okay.
To force the hands of recalcitrants and then ensure that this kind of practice, because sometimes you need that kind of statutory intervention to ensure that
that is done.
Have compliance.
Okay. Thank you very much, GT. God bless you. Thank you very much for your contribution, and I'll be praying I'm waiting for that day. I'm keeping my champagne cold. When I hear that you've been conferred with the rank of son, because you are one of the few lawyers that I respect so much in this, and I mean it from the bottom of my heart.
Thank you so
All
much.
the
I'm
best, JT.
grateful.
Thank you
I'm
very
grateful.
much. Yeah, so okay, so you heard him. So what it does mean is that it would be nice if the women applied a bit more pressure and got your members of the houses of the assemblies of the various states to now pass this into law and criminalize it. Now, remember that this happens only if a person, if the person dies intestate. I've spoken to quite a number of people. Early this morning, I put a call through to my good friend Emmanuel Koka, who gladly calls himself Mister. He says he's not a chief yet. And I asked him if he supported the culture, this culture of saying women cannot inherit. Being in a very funny position himself, he said, "How can I support this? It's preposterous, founded on nothing, as if the birth process differs by sex. So in my case, God graciously gave me girls." Oh, okay. That was in his reaction. He has only girls. I was hoping that it should go quick. So as he has girls, the man can take all that he has from him. But then he says, "I will look for a man. Will I then look for a man to inherit my sweat? Mr. Coker, I'll be glad to inherit your sweat too. That is if you go before." But that is his view. Do I have I also I want to put a call through to Mrs. Anyaru. Do I have her on the line? Is she on the line? Not yet. Okay. We're trying to connect Mrs. Ngozi Anyaru to get her own reaction. But if you look at the story here, it says that some women who spoke with Woman's Own, who spoke with Ebunoluwa Sesu, who wrote the story, says that some women Igbo women say that the culture has come to stay, and no court of any sort is capable of abolishing it. Okay, Mrs. Chindundu, a trader, said that Igbo culture can never be abolished. The culture states that a female child cannot inherit her father's property or wealth, and that is what I uphold. It cannot give my girl child any inheritance to share with her male counterpart. I wish I was an Igbo man, have everything to myself. My sisters would knock me off. And it says Igbo culture allows the male child to be given the father's wealth, and that is my stand. And that she does not subscribe to any Supreme Court judgment over inheritance. Mrs. Odina Hope, who is also a teacher, is in support of the culture, and she says that I stand by the culture, although with modernization there are divergent views on why it should be abolished. But I believe that the interests of everyone should be considered. That is what Mrs. Odina Hope has said. And that's what she has said. Mrs. Udekwe, her only daughter, will have the equal share alongside her siblings who are male children. Mrs. Udekwe, who is her daughter, had this to say: I have told my children that my daughter will have equal share of the inheritance with her siblings. That is my policy. But in Igbo land, it is a different thing. Who do I have on the line now? Mrs. Anyaru. Yes. Good morning, Mrs. Anyaru. Hello?
Do I need to turn down my radio?
Yes, just put it off completely.
Okay.
Yes.
Good morning again, Uncle Jimmy.
Morning, Mrs. Anyaru. How are you?
Very well, thank you.
Sorry to drag you in here at the shortest of notice, but I just saw it in the papers this morning and decided to take it head on. Yeah, so what do you think about the culture and then the subsequent judgment of the Supreme Court that allows female children to inherit from their father's estate?
First of all, that culture should have been done away with many, many years ago.
Okay.
The reason my friend suggested me is actually because I have a very peculiar situation. My family went through that. My father died over 20 years ago.
Okay.
And in our situation, my brothers actually took everything.
Wow.
But interestingly, when you called me this morning, I called my older sister who's in her 60s.
Yes.
And she actually said to me that my father actually did write a will.
Ooh.
And had asked her to come and have a look at the will.
Yes.
But she said she knew there was going to be a serious fight when he died. It was a polygamous home.
Okay.
Yes, so she said she didn't go to look at the will, and unfortunately, he never filed it in probate court.
Oh, I see.
Yes. So, of course, when he died, it was a fight, I must say.
It was a big fight. Where did it all end?
It didn't end well.
It didn't end well. Oh, pity.
They took everything. They sold everything. I don't know what they did with the money. But it didn't end well. Some of my brothers died.
Oof.
Yes, some of my half-brothers died in the process. And but I mean, reading what you sent to me this morning, I think the most important thing I have to take away is the part about legislation.
Yes.
So that this is enforceable.
Yes.
And then I think Nigerians also just taking on the fact that writing a will is the right thing to do.
Mm-hmm.
And in my sister's case, for instance, my father actually gave her land. My two older sisters, he gave them land before he died. So she just said the only reason she didn't want to get involved was because she knew it was going to be ugly.
Yes.
So I think men should write their wills. And then, of course, the sad part is, unfortunately, it's the girl children who look after their parents in most cases. You know, so even in our situation, when he died, my sister paid for his funeral. You know? So I think those are the two most important takeaways.
That you do have.
Yes,
But do you think in modern times, just for the sake of a discussion, do you think that in modern times that would still apply if a man in his 60s now dies intestate? Somebody would still be bringing up some age. The women these days are much, much tougher. They're not going to take that kind of nonsense from anybody. What do you think?
They will take it. I'm sorry to say.
Really? Unless we legislate on it.
Yes, because, so last year, I remember my sister and I having a conversation, and in passing, she said, they are selling some land somewhere. And I was like, you mean there's still something to sell after 20-something years? She said, yes, because they've consistently been selling his properties. And we haven't done anything about it, because even though my immediate brothers we couldn't deal with my half-brothers.
Yes.
We had a situation where some of them were ready to do anything. And interestingly, I had a conversation with a friend last night. She was distraught. And what had happened, her father also died while we were in university, which is over 25 years ago. Her mom just moved from her father's house in Ikeja and wants to sell the property the man left to her. And her half-siblings have said, absolutely not.
Wow.
So, I mean, is she going to fight them? I doubt it. I'm going to call her again this morning, but I doubt that she will fight. I doubt that her mother will fight. Because sometimes you might think, okay, it's just property, it's not that serious. But for some people, it's that serious. Yes.
I mean, there's also some it's not just the money or the commercial value. Sometimes there's some emotional whatever attached to it. But I think this actually applies if the man dies intestate. Tradition doesn't forbid him for handing things to his daughter, does it?
Exactly.
Okay, I'll let Emmanuel Coker know that. I have a friend, Emmanuel Coker. You know, he has only daughters, and I was saying to him, you know, you have only daughters. If you are looking for a man, you better hire me. That is it. But thank you very much. You know what we're going to do, Mrs. Anyaru? What we're going to do is I'm going to set up a roundtable here sometime within the next 2 weeks so we can all sit down, look at us face to face, bring in some 1 or 2 men. If there's going to be boxing, so be it, and thrash it out in the studio. Are you game?
Oh, sure.
I know you. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you.
All right. That was Mrs. Anyaru. Mrs. Anyaru. Yes. We're already having Neka from Ikoro who says, Uncle Jimmy, there is no way I would leave my husband and come back to my father's house to come and start fighting for my father's property with my brothers. That's Neka. Supposing, what if you didn't have a husband? What if you didn't have a husband? But anyway, if you want to contribute, of course, you know the numbers to call 0700 993 993 993. You tweet at Nigeria Info FM, at Nigeria Info FM. I have another WhatsApp message. Where's it gone now? Where is it? Excellent judgment by the Supreme Court. This is Ndubusi Okoli on female inheritance, but the begging question is enforcement. No, it's not the law yet. What it just means is, if you feel aggrieved, you can go to court, and that will be used as a precedent. But so the next thing to do is to get as many people as possible to put pressure on the Houses of Assembly to now pass it into law. To pass it into law. Do I have a caller? Yes, okay, I'll take a call. Morning.
Good morning.
Morning. Who's calling, please?
My name is Elder Sam. I'm calling from Iowa.
Yes, sir. Morning, sir.
Yeah, I listen to GT.
Yes.
I want to make a statement which might summarize what I want to say.
Very quickly, please. You have just a minute.
Tradition is supreme. Custom is above all. To question tradition is sacrilege. Okay?
Okay. I mean, if that's your view, that's your view. I don't necessarily agree with you.
What GT said is the white man's tradition. That's English law he was quoting. So if in their place women can inherit like Queen Elizabeth, the Igbo tradition says they don't, and they accept it. It is the Oloju group among them that do not accept. So,
well,
that ruling is a foreign ruling. It's not according to the tradition.
Don't you think that the men who believe that tradition should not describe themselves as Oloju Kokoro? Why would you want to ascribe everything to yourself? Are females not human beings? Are they not our mothers?
See, the core of a culture cannot change. The periphery can change.
No. If it was that, like Gigi said, we'll still be killing twins like they did in Calabar way back. The culture is dynamic, and I think it is rather selfish.
The dynamic
it is unfortunate.
Is at the periphery, not at the core.
It is unfortunate that in 2020, we'll be having males who will say that females. What's the difference between a man and a woman apart from the anatomy? And if anything at all, what usually happens? Wait.
Muslim before now.
Wait. Don't talk about my personal thing. Let me tell you, what is most unfortunate about all this is that it is the women that take care more of their fathers than the men. The men would have gone shacking in town. Then when the papa dies, sit in the kingdom. I beg second base. I don't agree with you. Do I have another caller? I floored him. He's gone away. He ran. He says it's the Oloju Kokoros. It's the men that the Oloju Kokoros. Hello?
Good morning, Obuchibi.
Morning, Jare.
My name is Gideon from Morimi.
Yes.
Actually, my mom, she's an Igbo woman.
Yes.
So, you see, this issue of the man, his elder son taking it all, is a threat to me. And again, for over 21st century, for something else happening. Those guys they've inherited everything. And later, they want the women to contribute again. Imagine. How is that possible? Well, Uncle Jimmy, I'm glad I got through to you today. I'm very proud.
Thank you.
I have a request, please.
No, you have only 1 minute. You have only 1 minute. This is not a request program. Okay, I need to take a commercial break, Zainab. By the way, Zainab, put on your mic. Let me hear. Are you Igbo by any chance?
No.
Where are you from?
I'm from Oyo State, Ogbomoso.
Ogbomoso people are very tough. Oh. Kai, you're from the same place with Alawakala.
Exactly, sir.
You know, Alawakala though. He was one-time governor. Right. I met him on a few occasions, and I found him to be a jolly good person. Right. You know, I don't know about governance and other things, but he was a jolly good person. So no wonder you and I like Ogbomoso people, and my good friend Akula from Ogbomoso. But let me hear your views on this. Whether females, tradition says that female cannot inherit their fathers, whatever it is.
Well, from my own Yoruba background.
From Ogbomoso especially.
From Ogbomoso especially, maybe, yes. So when my father died some years ago,
yes,
other family members, extended families, uncles, and the rest of them came over, and then they apportioned the property to each of us. So I have mine.
And everybody has his.
And everybody
you were
has
treated
his.
equally.
Exactly. So
Was it done on a diggy or, did your father have many wives?
no, just my mother.
Are you sure?
Yes.
Are you sure? Are you sure? With these things, do you want to call a friend or you want to do 50-50?
No, we know ourselves.
You know yourselves. Okay. Zainab, I need to take a break.
All right.
I'll take a break and I'll be right back.
Don't touch that dial. Daily Digest returns in a moment. Welcome back.
Welcome back.
This is Daily Digest with Jimi Disu.
You're welcome back to Daily Digest. There's another story that I saw this morning that I want to bring to your attention. I want you to listen carefully to this story. I want you to listen carefully. I've tried to put a call through to the authorities in charge, but I haven't been quite successful. That's the Domestic Violence Department of the Lagos State Ministry of Justice. The Lagos State has a very, very vibrant domestic violence department in the Ministry of Justice that protects victims. I wanted to say women, but also some men are victims of domestic violence. But I want you to sit back, don't do anything, and just listen carefully to this story. It says, wife accuses nightlife king of sexually assaulting 5-month-old baby. The story is written by Oluwatosin Omoju Igbe. A Lagos-based beautician, Diana Kafaru, has accused her own husband, Temidayo, of allegedly assaulting and molesting their 5-month-old baby at their residence at the Bricks Court Estate in the Lekki area of the state. Diana Kafaru has accused her husband, who I'm sure will then be Temidayo Kafaru, of molesting their 5-month-old baby they had between the two of them. Diana alleged that she found her husband on the 8th of May 2020 molesting their baby by putting his manhood in her mouth. I've never heard of something so disgusting, if it is true. Diana, who accused Temidayo of having anal sex with her without her consent, that's another bad thing you don't want to read, further alleged that her husband also raped their housemaid. So what we're being told, what is being reported here is that the wife virtually has labeled her husband a complete monster that must be brought under control, if it is true. The 24-year-old told Punch Metro that after the matter was reported to the State Domestic and Sexual Violence Response Team, Temidayo refused to honor the invitation of the agency, adding that efforts to arrest him by policemen attached to the State CID and Intelligence Department Panti were frustrated by one AIG, Dilbal Yakadi. The Punch reports that the woman claimed that efforts to arrest him were frustrated by AIG Yakadi. I don't know if that is true. But what I do know is usually when you run into a problem in Nigeria, the next thing to do is to call a senior police officer to come to your aid, and that obstructs the cause of justice. Okay, so that's what she claims. And this incident happened She said she found him on May 8th of May. Now she says that I reported a case of physical assault on my person, domestic violence, sexual violence, and sex without my permission, and sexual molestation of a 5-month-old baby against my husband at the Lagos State Domestic and Sexual Violence Response Team. Temidayo failed to honor several invitations, of the DSVLT until an email was sent to his employer that the attention of their employee was needed in respect of allegations against him at the DSVLT. Now, that part I don't understand, because if she reported to the Lagos State Domestic and Sexual Violence Response Team, why didn't they just invite him? And if he failed to show up, why not pick him up immediately? There's some explanation that I need there. And that's why I tried to put a call through to Mrs. Adeni Vivo of that agency, but unfortunately I haven't been able to talk to her. But she says that Temidayo promised to honor the invitation, but he failed to appear before the team at the appointed date, which made the DSVLT to escalate the matter to the SCID, and that's CID, and the case was assigned to the Gender Violence Unit to assist in apprehending him, but this was frustrated by AIG Dibar Yakadi, who was our neighbor at the estate. I think the Punch needs to take a walk down to the AIG's office and get his reaction on this matter. And I believe that also some organizations need to scale it up to the Police Service Commission to see if it is true and find out why the gentleman might be obstructing justice. The AIG ordered the policemen to remove their vehicles from the estate on the day they went to arrest Temidayo. And he vowed, and the AIG then vowed, that I was going to receive a summons, not me, the ladies the one saying now, receive a summons from Zone 2 Command. And when I was invited, I went there with my housemaid, who my husband raped, and we gave our statements. Okay, the AIG vowed that she would get a summons. Diana, who urged the Inspector General of Police, Mohammed Adamu, to order an investigation into allegations, stated that the police had refused to arrest the suspect despite constant threat to her life by him. The DSVLT coordinator, Titilola Vivo Adeni, that's the lady I tried to get in touch with this morning, while confirming Temidayo's refusal to honor the agency's invitation, said he initially promised to appear on Monday, July 27, 2020, but he refused to come. What's today's date? Today is 17th of September. Okay? When contacted, Temidayo did not take his calls, and when a message was sent to him via WhatsApp, he said the case was pending before the IG. My question is, why didn't you go to the first port where you were invited to make your case? How has it escalated onto to the IG's office without you having appeared before the DSVLT? Okay, but this is what he told the point that the case was pending before the IG. Then he now later sent copies of the application in the fundamental rights suit he filed through his counsel, Ebimi Bere Gudo, before the Lagos High Court on the 3rd of July 2020. And in the suit filed against the Commissioner of Police, Deputy Commissioner of Police, the DSVLT, Viva Debi, and Diana Faith Logico, he urged the court to stop the police from arresting him. I see. So the case is... So he now filed a case to stop the police from arresting him. And the affidavit in support of his application stated, it is expedient to state that the fourth respondent is using the officers of the first, second, and third respondent to assault, harass, molest, and threaten the applicant's life without any just cause in a bid to punish him that he failed to do her bidding of being the chief controller of the applicant's home against his marital vows. And it says, due to the applicant's refusal to yield to the fourth respondent mother's pressure and insistence on locating the business in her place, his mother-in-law barred the fourth respondent from returning, and so on and so forth. Well, my appeal this morning goes to my good friend, the Attorney General, who I respect so much. My appeal goes to him. We need an example to be made out of a case like this. I'm not passing any judgment, but we would just like to know, to make sure that the truth does come out in this case. So I'm going to plead with the governor really shouldn't be directing the Attorney General. But and luckily we have an independent Attorney General. If you remember the case of what's that actress's name now? Akindele. If you remember the case. So we have a very independent Attorney General. I'd like to appeal to his conscience and to his office, and to make sure that justice prevails in this case. Because the case has been, let me see now, it has been filed in court. I don't know whether it has been heard. It has just been filed. So I need to be careful about passing judgment on this. But I would just like, like I said, the Attorney General of Lagos State to please, too many times we have women making such reports. The reports, when I read this morning, I was completely overwhelmed and almost moved to tears. I can imagine, what the woman is claiming, anal sex, molesting a 5-month-old baby. A 5-month-old baby. Now, if these allegations are true, and if the allegations are not true but were made in bad faith, it's just as bad. It is just as bad. That is why, again, I'd like to call on the Honorable Attorney General of Lagos State and all other concerned bodies. Let us all come together and make sure that there is justice in the case of Diana Kafaru, who, at the onset, accused her husband Temidayo of assaulting and molesting their 5-month-old baby. And that on 8th of May, she found, I don't want to talk about manhood again, but we all know what she found. And also, I don't want to talk about anal sex again. All these are just as bad. And then also now it involves a case of raping the housemaid. It would also help if the police PRO in Lagos can help us contact AIG Dibal Yakadi. If you can contact AIG Dibal Yakadi yes, the case is in court, but I think we would help him to clear his name. We'll be more than glad to get his own statement as it involved in this case. That is AIG Dibal Yakadi. We would love him to just, let us know what exactly he knows about this case, because his name has crept into it. And we cannot deny Mr. Kafaru. Is that his surname? Let me see. Just this Temidayo. Mr. Kafaru of where does he say he lives now? This is a bomb brick estate. We can't deny him his rights. He has the right to go to court to enforce his rights, and we wish him luck. We haven't found him guilty, because in some of these things sometimes it might look as if, oh, this is exactly what happened, but by the time it unravels, you could find that sometimes these claims can be false. But it would help society a lot. It will help society a lot to see if we can unravel this. Now, I'm going to open up the lines, but I'm going to ask that the contribution be very, very careful, be well thought out, and let it come within 1 minute. Let it be less emotional. Let your contribution be logical. Remember, it has been filed in court, but I don't know if it has been heard, but it has been filed in court. But we still believe very strongly that the allegation against Mr. Temidayo has to be proven. So he is not yet guilty as charged. But what we do know is that he has filed a case to ask that he should not, that the court should give a ruling to stop him from being arrested, because it is claimed he didn't appear when he was summoned to the Ministry of Justice. I'm going to pick my first caller now. You have just 1 minute. Cut all the... Hello?
Hello, good morning.
Morning. Who's calling?
My name is Tuji from Ikorodu.
Yes, sir. Very quickly.
Yeah, the case is very simple, just like you said. Everything the lady said is in the realm of allegation.
Yes.
So the onus is on the guy to either confirm or debunk the allegation. However, my concern is going to court to stop the police from arresting him. It's just like he is accepting that the allegation technically against him is true, so he's trying to pervert the course of justice. Otherwise, what he ought to have done is to clear his name, because these are weighty allegations by the wife. He should clear his name and stop, playing the pranks of using the judicial system.
No, I don't think it is within his rights to it is within his rights to enforce his right to liberty. Let the court decide that. He's filed that before the court. I don't think he might not be playing a prank. Let him. His case is going to come up. He will give the reasons why he wants to restrain them from arresting him. We just jolly well might assume that it's a prank, and it might not be. But the funny thing about things like this is Judgment Day will always come. It might take a long time. It might last forever. But Judgment Day will always come. And that is why I had to quickly call on the Attorney General, to everything that can be done to unravel this particular case. I will plead with the Ministry of Justice. If the governor needs to make a phone call to the Attorney General, so be it. I would like, that justice is done in the case, and swiftly too, because we have three traumatized people here. We have the mother, we have the baby, we have the house help who it was said was also being raped, if it is true. So we'd like to get to the bottom of it. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning, Uncle Jimmy.
Morning, sir.
This is Moses calling from Lekki.
Yes, Mr. Moses.
First, Uncle Jimmy, this is an allegation.
Yes.
I won't just point fingers. Only God knows what has happened between the husband and the wife. Only God knows why this allegation, and only God knows if it's truth. So it's just that sometimes, all these big men, you are afraid to go to the station. You understand? Even a poor man sometimes, you are just afraid to go and stay there. That's why he's trying all possible means sometimes not to be arrested. But only God knows the truth behind it. Let's not point finger yet at all.
Okay.
Because only God knows the truth. Anything can be said against anybody.
Okay, my hands are closed. I'm not pointing fingers at anybody.
Thank you.
But I want to touch Zainab to tell her to pick another call. Can I do that? Zainab, pick another call for me, please. Hello, good morning. Morning. Hello. Hello. Hello.
Yeah, good morning, Uncle Jimmy.
Morning, sir. Who's calling?
My name is Mark Anthony. I'm calling from Ogba.
Yes.
The issue is this, that if you know he's not guilty on what he has been accused of, let him go to court or go to the police and clear his name. And now his family have to come out or go to ask him to go and clear their name, because their name is indicted in this situation. It is their name that is at stake. Let him go and clear his name to know that he's free for these allegations.
Okay. But that's what he has done. He has gone to court, and he has gone to court. Maybe that's the first stage. Maybe the next thing he might want to. I don't know the way these things go. I wish this subject had come up before I spoke to GT. It would have been nice to get his opinion, but the poor guy has to go and earn a living. I can't drag him out of the court that he probably might be in as we speak. I'll just take one or two more callers. It's 9:49, which gives me just 5 minutes more before Collins comes in at 10 o'clock. Okay. Hello? Hello?
Hello, Jimmy. Good morning, sir.
Morning. How are you?
Very well, thank you, sir.
Yeah.
This is Titus calling from the Bedunaki.
Yes, Mr. Titus. Please go on.
Yes. Just like one of your callers.
Can you knock off, please? No.
One of,
Please, when you call in, the first thing you do is to make sure that you're in a very quiet environment. I'm sorry, I had to truncate that call. Make sure that you're in a very quiet environment, and then switch off your radio completely, because you can't speak and hear yourself at the same time. It doesn't work that way here. We'll get an echo. and there'll be some interference. So don't call when you're on Okada or when you're in a car with the windows down, with breeze and whatever. Look for a nice, quiet place so we can hear you loud and clear. Let me take you want to read it? Go on.
This is Daudu on Facebook. He's saying that Uncle Jimmy, kindly make this show 1.5 hour. This 1 hour no reach us a beg.
We cannot die. Beg. I know. I know. You know, it was in the other side. I had 1.5 hours, but I almost died. So this one I beg. The 1 hour is good. And besides, sometimes some things that are shorter are better, don't you think? They're much better. Yes. Yes, okay.
We have lots of YouTube comments here too.
Okay, let me read some of them.
Okay, Afe Clement says, "Thank you, Uncle Jimmy, for a good well done. You will live long for us."
Amen.
Ogbemi Rewan says, "Good morning, Uncle Jimmy. A lot is times our cultures do not account for nuance, and unfortunately, there is a lot of nuance in our current realities. Inheritance is a legal proceeding, not a cultural one."
Okay, let me read something here, Zena. It says Southeast Mafia. He didn't put his name. He said, "If your father never left property for you as his daughter, blame him for that tradition has evolved. My 4 sisters all collected equal property as me and my brothers. Yes, we are Igbos, and my dad is a chief." But he didn't leave his real name. So we don't know whether what you're saying is true now, whether you're hiding under you know, but personally, I don't support it, and I don't support. I think this idea about male children, this big thing about male children, I never really had it when I was having children. In all honesty, okay, fine. I have two girls and a boy, but I love my daughters to bits. You saw what happened last week. When we were talking about it, I said, "Do you hear now?" Because my daughters are, you know, they have some evil blood that I will go along that tradition. I said, "Daddy, you won't leave anything. You won't leave anything for us. We'll follow you to the afterlife to go grab it." But it is important to know that these things apply when a person dies intestate. And because of that, I have to go and look for Mrs. Yetunde Fawaimi, who she's a lawyer. She specializes in wills. If I remember very well, I had her over about 2 years ago. I think I'll try and see if I can drag her in next week to advise all of us on how best to write our wills. Now, remember that you don't need to be old and crepit before you write a will. Once you start having things, and especially if you have a child or a wife or whatever, it's better for you. You can always update your will. At the touch of a button, you can always update your will. So I'm going to go look for Mrs. Yetunde Fawaimi. I will try and pin her down this weekend and see if we can bring her in next week so that she can. And I even think I need to adjust my own will now. I just acquired one new thing, so I'll make sure that. Now I'm joking. I haven't acquired anything. That's why I'm going to call it a day because I have to be out of here before Colin shows up. Zainab,
yes, sir.
Thank you very much. Is your husband Igbo, by the way?
Yoruba.
It's Yoruba. You just did that one so that everything will be sekme, everything go just day as it's supposed to day. Okay, thank you very much, Zima. I'll see you tomorrow. We'll be back again tomorrow. Tomorrow, one of the things is going to be a great delight for me to talk to a young lady for about 10, 15 minutes she does cartoons. And she did, if you go to my Twitter handle, you'll see it. She did a nice, my Instagram, and she did a nice cartoon for me, you know, for next to nothing. And I said, wow, you know, and that's what she does for a living. I suspect she's under 30. If I remember, she said she was in her 20s. And very diligent, did it on time. And of course, she got paid on time. And I said, well, I'm not going to pay you a deposit. She said, You know the way women do sometimes. It's as you like, sir, but she still stood her ground, waiting patiently. She was looking at her phone, waiting for the alert. So I'm going to talk to her tomorrow. Don't forget that on Saturday, the discourse we have Miss Helen More. She's an industrialist, and you know, I'm going to meet her for the first time on Saturday. We spoke for the first time yesterday, but she's been doing. I've watched her on Facebook. That's what I do. I look out for people who I think are doing wonderful things, and I drag them in. So that's what we'll do. Zainab, one more time, thank you very much. Philip, thank you very much. Who is the lady with you behind the pillar? I can see the lady, but I can't see you. All of you put your hands up. All right. I'll see you all tomorrow.